I'd like to welcome everyone on social media and welcome to the temple today on this wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Today we have as our speaker a very special friend of mine, Reverend Mary Moore. The title of her talk is going to be Sit Back and Cruise. So I'm looking forward to hearing that one. I don't have a clue, by the way. So I'd like to share with you briefly a little inspirational piece that I got from the prophet when thinking about how we relate with God in our spiritual journey. Is it a mental trip or is it an emotional, passionate trip? Your soul is oftentimes a battlefield upon which your reason and your judgment wage war against your passion and your appetite. Your reason and your passion are the rudder and the sails of your seafaring soul. If either your sails or your rudder be broken, you can but toss and drift, or else be held at a standstill in mid-seas. For reason, ruling alone, is a force confining, and passion, unattended, is a flame that burns to its own destruction. Therefore, let your soul exalt your reason to the height of passion, that it may sing, and let it direct your passion with reason, that your passion may live through its own daily resurrection, and like the phoenix, rise above its own ashes. I would have you consider your judgment and your appetite, even as you would consider two loved guests in your house. Surely you would not honor one guest above the other, for he who is more mindful of one loses the love and faith of both. Among the hills, when you sit in the cool shade of the white poplars, sharing the peace and serenity of the distant fields and meadows, let your heart say in silence, God rests in reason. And then when the storm comes and the mighty wind shakes the forest and thunder and lightning proclaim the majesty of the sky, then let your heart say in awe, God moves in passion. And since you are a breath in God's sphere and a leaf in God's forest, you too should rest in reason and move in passion. Thank you for letting me share that with you. And now we have Carolyn the Goodfella, Alex, to share some music with us.
Carolyn the Goodfella. I like that. Okay, we've changed things around a little bit. We're going to do our usual last song first. So this is We Can Be the Change by Sue Riley. One step, one act, it's a single fact. We can be the change. Don't have to do it all. No steps are too small. We can be the change. Be the change. We can be the change. Be the change. We can be the change. One heart, one voice, it's a simple choice. We can be the change. When it calls to you and it's yours to do, we can be the change. Sing it. Be the change. Sing this part. We can be the change. Be the change. We can be the change. Reach out one hand. Be the change. A part of the plan. Be the change. Put it into motion. Be the change. Like a ripple on the ocean. Be the change. Be the change. We can be the change. Be the change. We can be the change. Be the change.
Thank you, Carol and Alex. That was wonderful, and thank you, Lonnie. That was great. Well, I give the title of my talk several weeks before I present. So it just came to me intuitively, sit back and cruise, and I apologize profusely. If you don't like this name of this title of talk, just let me know. And I didn't get any response, so that's what I have. And in many ways, it's very fitting because I feel like we've all relaxed and we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and life has changed some over the last few weeks. So it's a great time just to sit back and relax and enjoy life after all the attention to which we've had to focus on our lives over the past year and a half. I have a really fun reading for you this morning to start out with. It's entitled More Whipped Cream. And I think that it's very fitting to today and the changes that are going on in our world out there and in here as well. More whipped cream. I have a delightful friend. I'm almost in awe of her. When we first met, I was impressed by her bizarre behavior. That day, I had a date with friends. We met to have some lunch. Ellie had come along with them. All in all, a pleasant bunch. When the menus were presented, salads, sandwiches, and soups, except for Ellie, who circumvented and said, "Ice cream, please, 2 scoops." I'm not sure I heard my ears quite right, and the others were aghast, along with heated apple pie. Ellie smiled, completely unabashed. We tried to act nonchalant, as if people did this all the time. But when our orders were brought out, I did not enjoy mine. I could not take my eyes off Ellie as her pie a la mode went down. The other ladies showed dismay. They ate their lunches and they frowned. Well, the next time I went out to eat, I called and invited Ellie. My lunch contained white tuna meat. She ordered a parfait. I smiled when her dish I viewed. She asked if she amused me, and I said, "Yes, you do, and you also quite confuse me. How come you order rich desserts when I feel I must be sensible?" She laughed and said in wanton mirth, "I'm tasting all that's possible. I try to eat the food I need, and I do the things I should. But life's so short, my friend, indeed. I hate missing out on something good." This year I realized I was old, she grinned. I've not been this old before. So before I die, I've got to try those things for years I have ignored. I've not smelled all the flowers yet, and too many books I have not read. There's more hot fudge sundaes to wolf down and kites to be flown overhead. There's many malls I have not shopped. I've not laughed at all the jokes. I've missed a lot of Broadway hits and potato chips and Cokes. I want to wade again in water and feel ocean spray upon my face. Sit in a country church once more and thank God for his grace. I want peanut butter every day spread on my morning toast. I want untimed long-distance phone calls to the people I love the most. I've not cried at all the movies yet, nor walked in the morning rain. I need to feel wind in my hair again. I want to fall in love again. So if I choose to have dessert instead of having dinner, if I should die before nightfall, you'd have to say I died a winner, that I missed out on nothing, that I had my heart's desire, that I had that final chocolate mousse before my life expired. With that, I call the waitress over. I've changed my mind, it seems. I said, I want what she is having, only add some more whipped cream. I think through this valley of life, we have had time now at this point to reflect and see what's really important in life and to sit back and cruise. My mother, about 55 years ago, planted some flowers in the Midwest out back of her house. She wanted to be a concert pianist, but because of what women did at that time, she used to practice the piano 4 or 5 hours a day, and she was that kind of pianist that owned the piano when she sat down. And she ended up raising 3 children, but that did not block her creativity in many ways. She planted flowers, was one of the expressions, and she planted them about 55 years ago. My sister-in-law sent me these beautiful pictures, and she never sends me pictures like this. And they were beautiful pictures of my mother's garden, and she said, you know, the flowers have never bloomed so bright, and the fragrance that comes out in the cool spring air just blows right into you. And so anyway, Steve, good, thank you so much. So anyway, she sent me 4 pictures. If you would just move through them, that's fine. And so my purpose in showing those to you is to talk about this idea that even when we go through these valleys of life, the flowers still bloom, sometimes more beautifully than they've ever bloomed before. The fragrance is more fragrant than it's ever been. Those wisps come through the breeze. I was thinking about the eternality of life, that it doesn't matter about the valleys of our life and the hilltops and anything that we go through, because there is this consistency where the world just moves on regardless. I was thinking about the time that my mother planted those and how they're still giving beauty and substance to all of us. Kind of gives us that sweetness of life, that sweetness of life. I wanted to share with you this morning that David Hawkins says, he says, it's very important that we have something as a background to kind of touch into, to measure what life is about. And what is that background? It's about love. Love is inclusive. It's about joy. It's those gurgles of bubbles that come up through us when we just see something beautiful or we see a child saying something endearing. It's that peace in the background. And that is what we measure our life up to. And when we measure our life in that way, we just see that what we've been through is just really nothing. It's really about wolfing down hot fudge sundaes and really having a good time, because life just moves on regardless of the momentary discomforts that we have. There was a woman who came to see me. She walked into the room, handbag on her arm, and told me this story. Her son was now 16 years old. He had been brought up primarily by his father. And she felt estranged from him somewhat because the father was very controlling. And so I reminded her, this is something that I find helped her so much, is that we are deathless, birthless, ageless, without beginning and without end. We always have been, we are now, and we always will be. It's not these tiny little things that we go through called a pandemic. Yes, they're difficult. Yes, we have to negotiate them. Yes, we have to navigate them. But it's about the big picture of life. And everybody on the planet, if you're in a body or if you're a plant or animal or whatever, you have these hills and valleys in the course of being here on the planet. So it's not about any one experience. She continues to tell me, the father has this family that's a large family, and so her son has spent a lot of time with him. She has a smaller family, just her sister and her mother. They don't have these big cookouts and gatherings. And so she hasn't spent a lot of time with him. Now he's 16 years old. She wants him to go to college. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. And I did my thing about your eternal being on an eternal journey, just to get the perspective. This is not a life and death situation. He has plenty of time to go to college. I said, isn't it wonderful that he has a family? I said, those kind of roots. Now, I was not giving her my intuitive impression. I was not giving her anything less than principle. I'm talking about law and principle of the universe. I said, isn't it great? It's good for a child to have a large extended family, to have memories of cookouts and playing and whatever he was doing with his cousins and having a good time. I said, that's so good. I said, going to college, I've worked in the field of higher education. I said, do you have any idea how expensive it is to go to college? If he doesn't know what he wants to do, why would you want him to go for a year or two and drop out and have an enormous debt and not have any direction? I said, this is great. I said, his family's business cannot be outsourced. It's been handed down from grandfather to father, now to him. I said, he can sell the business, he can hire someone out to do it, and he can go back to school at some point if he wants. I said, this is great security for him. And if he doesn't know what he wants to do, it's a great place to start to figure out the world. And he obviously has lots of people around him to support him. Well, she began to settle. She began to settle and breathe deeper and get quiet about the whole situation. I said, now I'd like to talk about you. Because oftentimes when we come and we want to talk about our children, it's because we have stuff that we want to work on about ourselves. She said, well, I'm middle-aged, I'm working in an administrative position, and I'm not happy. But I don't feel like I have the wherewithal, the fortitude to go back and start a whole new career. That's not where I am in my thought process. So I said, let's stay with principles. I said, you're in a position. I said, I want you to go in every day and just thank the universe that you have this position. I want you to say a little affirmation to yourself because it's like a gift every day. I said, the gift is that I want you to say to yourself, I'm not going to do this again. Once I finish up this, I'm not going to do this again. I said, it just comes in as a little gift for you. But I want you to sit there. I want you to be very content. I want you to do the best that you can possibly do in that situation. And I want you to begin some kind of hobby, something that's really fun for you. I said, you never know what might materialize from that could take you out of this position to something else. What you focus on is what you create. And I said, by the way, your son, I said, oftentimes when a father has been restrictive or a parent has been restrictive, that child will come back toward you. I said, I'm just teaching you about laws of the universe. What you give out, you give back. And so I just want you to focus on that. Try to be as neutral as you can, as loving and inclusive of him, and focus on your life. And I'm telling you that child will come back toward you. He's an only child. It's a male. He's going to want to figure out, who is this other part of the family that I don't know? I said, it's not my opinion. It's not my intuitive impression. I'm talking about laws. When somebody holds you back, you want to go search that out at a certain point. I said, I can guarantee you he'll circle back around and he will check you out. And as a young man, he will be endearing of his mother. You will have more love than you can dream of. And I said, in the meantime, you're doing your hobby, you're doing your work, you're taking care of yourself, and you're not judging him. I said, that's a tall order, and you will be well rewarded for your effort in this area of your life. I once again reminded her she was an eternal being on an eternal journey, and that this is not the big issue in life. It's so much bigger than that for all of us. She picked up her handbag, put it on her shoulder. She walked out. Her spine was erect. Her whole body had changed. You see, it's in our smallness that we begin to act small, but we're not small. We're these huge, magnificent beings that I think I've heard the energy body comes out for miles or yards beyond what we are. It's been measured. And so we're actually these huge, powerful beings, and we don't own it. So what I'm saying to you today, we've been through some challenges collectively. That's what in metaphysics they used to call race consciousness. I think it's more like a group think now. We talk about that, or group consciousness. And I want us to expand our consciousness to well-being for all people. I think that we're on a precipice of a magnificent time on this planet's evolution, where we're going to see more healing. The last time we had the workshop, 4 extra people called trying to get in that workshop. And at the time, we were trying to keep the workshop small because we were going to have it in a smaller room and keep masks and keep everybody social distance. And now we don't have to be as concerned about that. But lots of people are interested in healing because I think they want to know that they have control over something in their life. Could I heal myself? Let me hear it. Anyway, we would love to have you join us on Saturday. Remember that the world is yours. Just ask it and it will come forth for you. It will manifest. Just speak the word. There was a woman by Florence Scovel Shinn said, your word is your wand. In other words, what you speak is what happens. I leave you with that this morning, and God bless you.
Thank you so very much, Marie. That was absolutely wonderful. We are so blessed to have Reverend Mary with us and sharing her gifts with us. We are truly, truly blessed. Thank you. So at this time, we're going to move into our tithes and offerings. So we invite you to take your tithes and your gifts in your hands and bless them. And I would ask for the ushers to come forth at this time, please. And let us join now in prayer. Let us know that as we share the gifts, we share them with love from our heart. And let us know that divine love moves through in and each and every one of us, blessing and multiply all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. And so it is. Amen.
All righty. This is a good song to end on. I think you'll like it.
One love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. As I hear the children crying, one love, hear the children crying, one heart, giving thanks and praise to the Lord, and we'll feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Let them all pass their silly remarks. One love, there is one question I would really like to ask. One heart, is there a place for the hopeless sinner who has hurt all mankind just to save his own creation? Yeah. One love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. As it was in the beginning, one love, now until the end, one heart. giving thanks and praise to the Lord, and we'll feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright.
Never together to fight this holy Armageddon.
One love,
So when the man comes, there will be no doom.
one heart,
Have pity on those whose chance of growth in none. Let it all holding place from father or creation.
one love, one heart.
Let's get
Together and feel alright. Yes, I'm pleading to the world. One love, oh Lord, one heart. Giving thanks and praise to the Lord, and we'll feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Yeah. Let's get together and feel alright.
Yeah. Have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you for being here.